everybody, and welcome. Today I have a special guest, Julie, and she is willing to ask her communication questions so that all of you can learn. So welcome, Julie.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here today.
What are you thinking about?
My question. So I'm sure lots of people might be able to relate out there who are married. So my husband and I have this ongoing challenge where I am a big proponent of I do what I say and I demonstrate and I practice what I preach, basically. And my husband, on the other hand, says he'll do something and then it just never seems to get done. That accountability of you said you were going to do something, it didn't get done, and I don't always know how to handle, that aspect of it. But in addition, he also gets frustrated then when, like, for example, my kids say they're going to do something and it doesn't get done. So then he'll get frustrated with them. So then I laugh because I'm thinking, that seems a little hypocritical to me that you get mad at them when the same exact thing you're doing that they're doing as well. So he kind of has that do as I say, not as I do attitude.
Wow.
And it's frustrating for me.
All right, so what's really important here to begin with is you're speaking about something called mirroring. And so you're speaking about many things. One of them is agreements and how you make clear agreements. And then also the second piece is accountability. How do you hold someone accountable to the agreements that they've made? And then third is the idea of mirroring, like that thing that he doesn't do, he gets annoyed with your children not doing, right? And then you have the mirroring experience of like, the thing that irritates you about him, right? We got to kind of mirror and figure out where it's in you. Okay, so stick with me here, and we'll do a little exploration here. So it sounds like what irritates you the most is that you get frustrated. This is your partner in crime, your partner in family, your partner in everything, and it's almost like it seems hard. You can't rely on him. Is that?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know whether or not it's going to actually come to fruition what he says he'll do. So sometimes it does.
Yeah.
But it's consistent. It's that inconsistency that really drives me crazy.
Yeah, because actually when you think about knowing whether you can trust someone with something, it's one of the biggest components of trust is that someone is consistent and reliable, that something happens when they say it's going to happen, it does happen. So when you don't have that, what do you do next? What do you end up doing then to compensate for that?
I do it. It gets done.
You do your stuff, you do his stuff, you do the kids' stuff. I'm sure you take on much more than your own stuff. Yeah?
Absolutely.
And how does that leave you feeling?
Resentful and frustrated.
Yeah. Exhausted. And what gets sacrificed because of that?
I think I compromise, and I guess I give power away to other things, so to speak.
You give your personal power away. You start to get resentful. How good are you at taking care of yourself?
Well, I think I do definitely take good care of myself in other ways. So I wouldn't say I sacrifice taking good care of myself based on this, but I do notice that it definitely too much energy in my mind. I don't like thinking about it. I don't like having to think whether it's going to get done or not going to get done, or whether or not I'm going to be let down or disappointed because I trusted that somebody else said they were going to do something and it doesn't reflect my value system, which is when I say I'm going to do something, I always follow through and I get it done. So It's frustrating.
Okay. So when you make agreements to other people, you keep them. So a good no.
Yes.
What'd you say?
I said most of the time, and if I can't, I will let them know that I can't do it, versus just pretending that you never asked me in the first place.
Yeah. So when you're, give me a time when you didn't keep an agreement, either with yourself or with someone else. When was it? What would the topic be around? Like, was there something you promised yourself that you didn't keep, or something you repeatedly promised to yourself that you don't keep?
I can't think of anything.
No? Okay. Well, that's okay. First of all, what we know
I give myself permission to not always feel bad if I don't do something that I say I'm going to do for myself.
Yeah, so you kind of guilt trip yourself a little bit, right? So if you say you're going to do something to yourself, you don't give yourself grace. Is that what you're saying? Like, you don't give
No, opposite. No, I do. I say if I can't do it, I don't get hard on myself anymore. In the past, I was hard on myself if I didn't do something I said I was going to do. Yeah. And sort of get, like, why didn't you clean up the garage, for example? Yeah. Now I'm like, it'll get done. And I don't get sad.
Oh, wow. And so what's your husband's answer when you ask him if something was going to get done and he says it didn't get done or whatever it is? How does he answer?
If he says he's going to do something and then it doesn't get done, he'll tell me again that it'll get done at another time. And then at that point in time, when I notice if it's done or not, it won't be done. For example, his clothes at the other end of our room, he'll typically tell me he's folding his laundry. He's a very good talker. So he'll tell me that it'll get done. I'll come upstairs at the end of the day and look, and it won't be done. Then he'll remind me that he knows it needs to get done, and he'll say, it will be done tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes, it's not done. Then the same thing. Oh, I know it needs to get done, and he'll tell me again. So it's not like it's not his awareness, but it still doesn't get done.
All right. So what it sounds like is he kind of like pushes the goalpost. Like, you push the goalpost out, you keep pushing it out and out and out, right? So I've done this on several blogs where I teach the 5 levels of agreement, right? And so when you make an agreement with him, right, and the 5 levels of agreement, actually you've worked with me and read my book as well. So in the 5 levels of agreement, do you remember, like, the first level is that somebody acknowledges that you spoke. The second level is that they show positive interest in what it is you're offering or asking them to do. The third level is that they give you a qualified yes. Yes, if I can get my work done, if I get home on time, whatever it is. The fourth level is a clear yes, and the fifth level is a yes with details confirmed. So I think really what has to happen is, if you've made an agreement, which is like, hey, honey, can you pick up the clothes on the other side of the room? And he says, yeah, I'll do it today. And today comes and goes, right? Today could be defined by midnight today. Right. So there is a time limit on it. It's really about you figuring out what can you do in your relationship with him. Like, the first thing you have to do is, hey, how do I want to invest in this relationship? Because him picking up the clothes or not picking up the clothes really isn't the problem, right? The problem goes deeper, because when you don't feel like you can rely on someone, you don't feel like you can trust that they say what they're going to do, what they say they're going to do, you're going to start feeling more like their parent than you are their partner, right? Because you do this with your kids, right? You're like, hey, honey, pick this up. Hey, so it would be a conversation. It's a conversation that would be something like this. Hey, Julie, something's been on my mind. I just want to run it by you and talk to you about it. When do you have 20 minutes for us to talk? And it's really about how I want to be a better partner in our relationship. So when can we talk about that? What would you say to me?
Sure, I can make time for you.
Of course you would, because you want to hear how I can be a better partner in our relationship.
Yeah.
So now I would say, Julie, I'm just going to mention some things, because I've noticed that this isn't actually what they're about, but I find myself sometimes feeling a little bit upset and resentful, and then I find myself blaming you. And I know that that's not that's not how I want to be with you in a relationship. So I try to reflect a little bit on what is causing that. And I'm just going to give some simple examples, but don't think that it's just these things. These are just like little examples so I can kind of help you understand something that's more cumulative for me. So, like last week when the clothes were in our room, like, how important it is to me that our bedroom is a sanctuary, that it's clean, that when I walk into it, I feel like I can relax. And I notice when your socks and your t-shirts and things are laying on the chair, even if they're clean, it's messy. Like I feel like I'm not in the sanctuary of my bedroom. And so when I asked you, you had said like, hey, I'll take care of it today. You said you'd take care of it on Saturday. On Sunday, you said you'd take care of it Sunday. And then a whole another week went by as we started our work week and all of that. So what I noticed is it's not actually about the clothes. It's more that I want to figure out how to be more effective in partnering with you. Partnering with you in that we're a team, and that when we say we're going to do things, like I can relax and know and trust that it's going to get done. So the laundry is not a deal breaker. It's that in itself, yes, it irritates me, but I realize it's about something bigger. And I want to know, first of all, like, how do you feel when I say I'm going to do something? Do I do it? Or are there times that you feel that I don't show up in a certain way when you want me to show up? So can you tell me if there's any experiences like that for you? Do you see how I said what I needed to say? I made it go deeper. I gave an example. And then I was curious so that you don't feel like I'm trying to attack you or I'm trying to make you wrong. Mm-hmm. My intention here is to be a better partner with you. So if you can help me do that, maybe there'll be blind spots that you'll shine a light on something that I didn't realize I was doing. And it might be in a different arena. This might be the physical mess of things, but you might be surprised to hear him say like, well, we never addressed that one time I was really upset that we canceled our friends coming over. And it might be more of an emotional mess that you haven't addressed. So that's where mirroring comes in. It's not always that something inside me is showing up outside of me on the same level. It sometimes is like how you were saying, something inside your husband showing up in your kids and irritating him. It's like the exact mirror. But for you, when you're speaking about a mess that's not cleaned up, you have to actually think of it in a little bit bigger sense. For him, it may not be that you don't do things or pick up things or do the things you say. It might be on some other level of your relationship that's a mess that is not yet cleaned up. Does that make sense?
It does, because I do understand mirroring, but for me, I kept thinking to myself that I do what I say I'm going to do. So how is it that I'm seeing him not do it? Because in me, I think I do that, but I think emotionally, maybe there is something that that I don't know of course, that could be cleaned up.
Yeah, and that you could be curious about. And then when you go to talk to him, you won't go in with this like self-righteous space of like, I know I'm right. I know I nailed you. You said you do it Saturday. You didn't. When you go in like that, you're not going in with the idea of being a partner, an equal partner to someone. So you got to go in with like true curiosity, and then the idea of like, hey, I want to tell you what I learned about myself. I'm getting resentful. I noticed that this is like having me feel more distant. I'd like to feel closer to you. So I thought I'd get curious, let you know what was going on for me, and then get curious about how I might be doing things that would be doing the same for you.
So that really makes sense. That's good. I'm wondering about the accountability aspect of things, though. Will that shift, or have you seen things shift from that standpoint once someone does that and opens themselves up to hearing what the other person sort of shares back, and does that open that door?
So it absolutely can. It also depends on where two people are in their relationship. So it depends on whether somebody wants to do the work to maintain a relationship, right? It depends on where in the spectrum of all of this two people are. One thing I'm certain of, though, is if you don't have the conversation, there's no chance of it, right? So for all of you that know that you're struggling in a relationship or in a friendship to get somebody to do what they say they're going to do, the first thing you want to do is make sure you have really clear agreements. And if you want to do a review on the 5 levels of agreement, that's in chapter 21 of TalkRx. I have a short chapter, but it's powerful and it'll teach you about agreements. There's also some videos that we've done before on the 5 levels of agreement. Once you know that you have a clear agreement, if you're still not, being able to connect with somebody, then you want to go back and you want to get really curious. First of all, what's my part in this? Secondly, have I had the honest conversation with them? Third, can I be curious about maybe a blind spot, something I'm not aware of, and how might this be mirroring in a different arena in our lives? So thank you, Julie. Thank you for your question, and thank you for your willingness to share, because I know there's a lot of people who struggle with this as well.
You're welcome.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.